saying thank you. All of your testimony, your service, your lives have been courageous and remarkable. I wanted to mention a couple of things. First of all, when I spoke to the Winter Soldier Gathering in Silver Springs, I believe it was only Pacifica Media that covered that very powerful 4 days. And I'm delighted that we have media here today, because your testimonials and your stories and what the truth is has not gotten out. And in many ways, the media has been complicit in what is taking place. And so I want to ask you to continue to get these stories out, to continue to talk to the press and your members of Congress, so that the American people, and Mr. Goldsmith, you talked about the apathy. I don't think the American people really, quite frankly, have felt what we're feeling today and have seen and witnessed what we know is taking place. And so we have to continue making sure the public understands what is going on. I'd like to ask you this. Now, I know part of the psychology of war is to dehumanize people, so that the atrocities that are required, the atrocities that are committed, those atrocities would bear minimal emotional impact on the soldier. How does this affect the mental health of those who have to do these things, and how do we need to move forward to make sure that suicide attempts don't occur, and that post-traumatic stress syndrome is minimized, and that we can really help with the psychology and the psychological needs of our veterans? Because all of you talked about, and we saw and we witnessed on the slides, this dehumanization process in action, and that's part of war. And I don't know how they train our young men and women for this, but that's what occurs. And so we have to figure this out and what we can do to help when you come home.
Yes, Congressman. Something that was brought up to me by a very good friend of mine sitting behind me, Mathis Giroux, just mentioned maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was something I never thought about, was that every enlistee spends a week of basic training, or at least a few days, doing bayonet training. And we are putting a bayonet, a knife, on the end of a rifle, and we repeatedly stab a dummy that looks like a human being and yell "kill" with every movement.
This is part of your training?
Yes. That is the basis of the military on a broad scale. That is the basis of, and the first step to dehumanization towards the enemy. And the acceptance to kill there's a very popular thing that the drill sergeants require us to say. And I remember the first time I heard it, I refused to say it. And it wasn't because I didn't want to be a soldier. It was because I thought it was weird. And the response to the question, soldiers, what makes the green grass grow? And the response is blood, 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 drill sergeant. So I would like to allow Jeffrey to go on how we can move past that.
You asked in your question, Congresswoman, what can you do to move forward with veterans coming home with scars that can't be seen by the eye, ones of mental wounds? Well, in Iraq Veterans Against the War, we didn't wait for the VA. We started a counseling group called Homefront Battle Buddies. In the Washington, D.C. chapter, which I'm the president of, we meet every Sunday at the Washington, D.C. office, our home, to meet for our Homefront Battle Buddies. That program is expanding nationally. We in Iraq Veterans Against the War have a saying that we're not going to wait for politicians to end a war. We end the war every day in what we do. We also do the same when it comes to our other goals, including taking care of veterans. We've started counseling groups. But what you can do starts simply with getting more Iraq veterans into college with the GI Bill. Even myself, with an honorable discharge and 9 years of service, am not eligible under the current GI Bill for any benefits. The GI Bill is the start, but also making sure that the Veterans Administration is fully funded, making sure that there is no waiting list for PTSD care. We have seen multiple suicides this year alone on veterans who have been waiting on a waiting list to get mental health care at a VA. This is inexcusable. There should never be a waiting list for any veteran, especially not one so young coming home from Iraq, when they ask for mental health care. These are the types of things that while we move forward in Iraq Veterans Against the War, the Congress can certainly move more funding into the VA, more funding into our veterans as they come home and out of the occupation. Thank you.